Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite skill saws of all time. This is the 5007 NB. This is actually the first tool that I ever owned. It is, I believe, 21 years old this year for me, and I've only ever had to have it serviced once. It is another Makita tool, of course, that has reliably worked for me for a long period of time. Not everybody's going to have same results, but here are the reasons why this is such a legendary tool, as some other people have mentioned before. This one right here, I've only ever had to have the bearings replaced for the actual mechanisms from the electric motor that drives the actual saw. Now, there are improved models out there. I have a 5007 FA, I believe, and it has an LED, so it allows for operations in low light conditions, and it also has an electric brake, which makes the blade stop a lot quicker than this older model, which will just keep spinning until inertia slows it down. So the reasons why this is such a great saw opposed to so many others, especially at the time, DeWalt, Milwaukee, all the rest of them, such as Bosch and a few other brands that I can't even think of right now, they have always put out bulkier saws. And you may notice from other videos that I've put out, such as the impact driver or batteries or anything else like that that I talk about, I like form. I like something that works for the space that it requires. And the biggest issue with most saws is there's a lot of wasted space. Makita is known for their electric motors, and there are good reasons why. The motors are small. They work within a small area. They have very forming and very functioning grips and assemblies. As things have gotten more about plastics and plastic bases or magnesium bases and some other forms, they do lose a certain aspect to something like steel base or to other types of tools that are built more or less simply. This one is simple. To increase or decrease the height of the cut, all you have to do is pull this black lever up. Then you can set your depth cut. Simple. Very easy. Even when it comes down to the actual bolts that toggle if you're going to use a saw guide on the front here, this area here that has a bar on either side where you can run it through, is very simple. It's all about this same toggle that's used on the front here if you want to set for a miter. Now, mine is a little bit loaded up with some concrete dust, sorry, and some other particles from some other jobs, but for cleaning it out, all I have to do is smack it around a bit and it works. Now, other than that, the other feature that came out multiple years ago due to local safety laws is that they wanted the saw guard here to have a material catch, which in all honesty does actually cause a lot more likelihood for an injury than this older style of saw guard. And the reasons for it is that when the material would come up, there'd be this little bump here, almost like a triangle, that's supposed to stop into the material to remind you to pull up the saw guard. If you are cutting material, most of the time the saw guard's going to come up all the way for you, as it should. If it's thin material, you're going to have to pull it up either way. There's practicality. This is practical. The other types of saw guards are not typically practical. I could understand for metal, where you're more likely to bind, where you're more likely to have heat issues and all sorts of other problems where you need to remember about. Now, the simple things when it comes down to a saw like this is it's likely to kick up on you. And the issues that I have had with the saw has been minor kick, but I have enough ability to actually hold the saw down whenever it has kicked and allow it to stop fully. If you want something that is more reliant for a full and quick stop when it does have that type of issue, you move over to another series like this. This is the 5007 FA. And the difference is that this one has an LED and it also has an electric brake. So right here, you'll see a little black switch. And that black switch has an LED that's controlled right in here. It allows you to see this area of the saw when you're cutting from above. Not that you should be looking all the time at where you're cutting. You should be looking out here and here to double check at times. I'll show a tutorial on how to cut and why to cut certain ways and what certain materials to watch for when you are cutting at another time. But for now, understand that the light here is to allow you to see that area in low light conditions. Now, alternatively, this one also has a regular saw guard. The benefits to it: don't have the same problems with material catch, don't have to deal with anything else. The other beautiful thing about this saw, most of the time you can cut a lot of curves with it because it is functional. Again, when you have a bulky saw, it's hard to see for the lines. It's hard to see when it's elevated. It's hard to see in all these different conditions, and it's harder to control. I've noticed with other saws, the grip is up higher. And when it's up higher like that, you are far more likely to lose control of the saw. With these saws, because it's lower and because you're able to get down before it grabs enough meat to rip up into the air on you, you don't have that problem. That's why it's always been my go-to saw. I hope if you have any conditions or any other saws that you'd like to talk about or even refer to on it, feel free to talk. Feel free to let me know. And I hope that everybody works safe. Thank you. And as a little side note, try not to work off of buckets. I'm only doing this as a demonstration and I've got experience. Don't do it. So I line up the teeth. I start up the saw.